So, what do we get to talk about today? You had a question.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Does your thinking create your environment? Or does your environment create your thinking?
Going once, going twice, going three times.
No, let that sink in, because I'm actually going to ask you, because I don't think it's registered yet. Does your thinking create your environment?
Mm-hmm.
Or does your environment create your thinking?
Well, I think there's two parts to it. You need to think, well, you could end up in an environment without consciously thinking about it and unconsciously put yourself in the environment. But I know, so there's the debate, but I know definitely that your environment is also going to have a massive, it's going to be a massive role model. It's going to have a massive impact on your thoughts.
Yes.
So I would say, maybe unless you're consciously aware of what you're thinking and what you're doing, you will then consciously put yourself in the environment, that's going to help you, achieve your goal. But there may be some people that self-sabotage or are comfortable, and unconsciously you're putting yourself in an environment that is not serving you.
Yes.
And
Isn't it an interesting one, right?
What's your answer?
Well, comment below what you guys think, because again, there's no right or wrong, and we want to share with you something that we've learned and taken from the amazing Tony Robbins. We also learned it at David T.S. Wood at his University in Action event, which was mind-blowing. And this is where I actually learned that the environment is what creates your thinking. So when I saw that, what I've just said before, is it your thinking that impacts your environment, or is it your environment? I was like, ooh, that got me questioning, because one thing that I've always had in my head is that it's always about the environment. And the environment also means, this is cool. Is it still
we're back.
live? We're back?
We're back.
Oh my God, we were ringing on a live. Someone wants to tell us what they think about the environment. So then the environment is like, one, where are you living? What's your surroundings like? Where are you working? What's that environment like? Who are you with? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because one thing we've learned is that you become the sum of 5 people that you hang around with. So let's go into because there's equations. Like everything in life, there's always an equation. We always have a formula. But let's go into a little bit of the formula that we learned from Tony Robbins and what he said about environment.
Yeah, wicked. And we're going to go into that. And maybe you guys can't see this. Maybe we'll shimmy around a little bit
Shimmy,
more.
shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
But I wanted you to just sort of... Is that working on mine on Facebook, Mum?
Yeah, you're on.
I wanted to just, on that note, question you and go, this is a chance for you. Mel just had a great point. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Mm-hmm. Are your 5 serving you?
Yes.
Right? Just a simple thing going, if you were to sit down with you, yourself and I, right? Yourself and you, and a book and go, okay, what's the life that I want to create? What do I want to achieve? And maybe lay that out and go, okay, well, if I was going to my Facebook right now and look at the top 5 messages, or if I was to tag 5 people, or the first 5 people that come up in your tagged friends when you put a photo up, like, are they serving you? Just something to be conscious about. They may be, and that's great. Maybe tag them in here and go, rock on, brother. Thanks for always supporting me. And if they're not, maybe that's something for you to think about. Maybe you could start, finding yourself in your 5.
Yeah, like, are they someone that you look up to? Are they the ones that inspire you? I know when I'm with Reese, he's always inspiring me. Like, a massive lesson that I learned on the weekend, which I shared on my post, is that he actually showed me, and I don't think he realized it, that I've been feeling like this all over the place because I haven't had the things that fill my cup up. But I just wasn't looking outside of that. And, I told him like how much I was missing the cafe life and sitting down and, really being on my laptop and working. But he still took me to a cafe knowing that we couldn't sit down in there. And we sat in the car and ate our cocoa fluff. And I had the best time ever. And it was like aha moment that it was like, whoa, it's not about, sitting in the cafe. It's actually about where you go. It's actually about who you're with. And that, again, taught me a lesson. So are you around people who are teaching you valuable lessons? Do they inspire you? Because this is one more thing I want to add before we get into the formula, because you made me remember it. Again, I'm just talking about when things come out of my thoughts, it just comes out. It's like a rant. It's like Mel and Reese's rant. That's what we should actually call it. Is that, and this is so powerful because I see this so much, and it's completely normal, and it just happens that humans are so quick to give advice. Like, we're sharing our knowledge with you guys, but you can take it on board or don't take it on board. That doesn't matter. Like, that's entirely up to you guys. We just love to share our knowledge. But the thing is, like, we always just want to give this stuff to people. We want to give value, we want to give advice, and people do it from the kindness of their hearts. One, they either do it to like help you, protect you. Maybe they're a little bit worried or afraid because they haven't seen what's outside the box. It's like that crabs in the bucket. Should I share that story? I don't know if they might go on for a while. Okay, I'll just give you a very short version of it, but there's a story about crabs in the bucket. You know, there's a fisherman out there and he's like, he caught these crabs, they're in a bucket. This woman walks along, she sees the crabs in the bucket, and she was just like, why haven't you put the lid on the bucket? Because there was no lid on the bucket. And they're like, well, why would I put the lid? And she's like, because the crabs are going to leave and you spent such a hard work, you know, catching these crabs. He goes, well, don't you know that one, true story, by the way, guys, with crabs and buckets. Don't you know that when one crab tries to leave the bucket, all of the other crabs go and pull it back down? Because they're fearful, right? They're fearful of what's going to happen to the other crab. It's like, I see the light, but they all pull it back. And we have that in our life. Like, we have crabs in our buckets. So just have, and that's okay. That's just where they're at. So just have a look. Who's in your life? Who's the 5? Who's inspiring you? One thing I love to do is when I get advice from people, and I always get advice, is one, I like to switch around and I go, do I want their life? Do I want to be in their shoes? If I want to walk that life, great, I'll take their advice. If I don't, then not so much. Like, there's that saying, like, do you take advice from broken, unhappy people? And have a look at that and look into that environment.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, maybe just go.
Perfect, right? And don't take advice from someone you wouldn't swap places with.
Yes.
Right? It'd probably be one of the top like philosophies, ideas, or something that I would love to live by. Right?
Long version, short version.
Yeah, don't take advice from you and swap places with. And be conscious of tall poppy syndrome and all the crabs, because people try to pull you down rather than let you free and actually let you experience life and go for your goals.
Yes.
I've not met a successful, happy, motivated person that has ever tried to pull me down.
Yeah.
Have I met broke, unhappy, miserable people that tell me that I can't achieve what I want to, or I'm too this, or I'm too that, or I'm too happy, or too this, or like, all the time, but not the happy, rich people.
Isn't this great? I love him.
So
to the formula.
To the formula, right? So this says thoughts.
Yeah.
You guys can't see that. Hopefully, your Facebook.
I'm gonna check.
So thoughts.
Yep.
Now, right? Let's all agree. We could. Mel just shared a perfect example of her thoughts around the cafe, and she wanted to, go to the cafes, but really it was the people, right? She's looking at that as, a positive. You could walk, I remember a time for me when I first got involved in personal development, I walked out, I was going skydiving, I walked down, the whole side of my car was scraped, right? It was probably a year-old car, and I was like, holy shit, my whole car is scraped. Am I going to let that ruin my day? I'm going skydiving, sorry. Right? I'm going I got your back the other weekend, right? Someone reversed into her car. But was I going to let that experience ruin my whole day? And it was that thought of well, no, like I learned this probably 5-6 years ago. It was like, well, no, I know that I can either think about how pissed off I am at that person, they didn't leave a note, how annoyed I am at that, or I can be like, screw it, you know what? I get to go skydiving today.
Yeah.
How freaking cool is that?
Yeah.
And obviously, that's what we're talking about. Like on this, on your thoughts, are you thinking a positive or are you thinking a negative at the end of the day? Right?
Yeah.
And that could be on so many things. That could be on this COVID-19. Yes, of course, there's a lot of negative around it. But I don't know about you guys. I was sitting here today working and looking out over the water and having all these butterflies fly everywhere, right? Which is something.
It was magical.
Right? It was like we get to spend more time together, right? There's so many like positives that you could look at any situation, right? If you look hard enough, you're always going to find. You may be sitting there and lost your job. This may be the perfect chance for you to start that passion you always wanted. Start that hobby you've always wanted. I know Mel really wanted to ride a unicycle. So I went out and bought her a unicycle, and now she gets to learn how to ride a unicycle. I just wanted a unicycle. But, so point being is there's so many thoughts. Now, do you want to talk about feeling?
Feelings. Well, so your thoughts are then what impacts your feelings. So anytime we're thinking about something, that's when our feelings now happen. So it's always leaning from thoughts. But obviously, guys, feelings is like, what are we feeling inside? What are the emotions? One thing Andrew wants to know about feelings. Everyone's calling us.
Andrew doesn't call.
No. That means he doesn't have thoughts then. So feelings at the end of the day are just emotions, right? And we're all gonna experience them. We're all gonna have them. We're just gonna feel it. One important thing is just to acknowledge it. Like, what are you actually feeling? What is that feeling like? So you can actually experience that emotion around it. Like, I am feeling sad. I am feeling happy. I am feeling joyful. I am feeling angry. And it's okay. Again, like, we have feelings. It's better to actually express it in a healthier way than to suppress it. Because when I look at feelings, when you suppress feelings, it's like a beach ball, and you go and grab a beach ball and you try and put it down in a swimming pool, and this goes like, you start to feel angry, and then you're like, no, but I'm not going to express anger, so I'm going to go down, I'm going to hide it, I don't want to get angry, I don't want to get angry, I don't want to get angry, and then all of a sudden, it just goes, one day, something small might happen that just might completely tick you over the edge because you've had enough, because you haven't expressed your feelings, that the ball just goes, it's too heavy, and it just blows up, right? And it goes, and it all comes out, and then all this anger just like fully comes out. Like, being angry is not a bad emotion. It's just how you express it. Like, when I get angry, I just go, ugh, and then it's out. It doesn't come like a yell or like a fist fight or anything. Just and then that's my anger. So it's just how we express, feelings and stuff like that. And I'm probably going on something completely different. But that's why I'm a very emotional person, because I have feelings and I cry a lot. I do, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm super emotional. Yeah.
So I want to put that into, like, when was the last time you exploded? Right? As in... Right? When was the last time your beach ball popped? But I want the point. What I want you to think about is when that frustration got too much and you exploded. Was that like, had that instance happened before and you hadn't got as frustrated as you did because maybe you suppressed it? Like, I think about maybe. Like, for the guys out there, maybe you've come home and your partner's gotten really angry because you've done something minute that you've always probably done, and it's always just been overlooked or overturned, but this one is like, one time they just went ballistic, right? And that's a question for the other side of the partner, maybe her or him or whatever it is. Is that a chance where maybe you could have suppressed your thoughts around it, your feelings around them not taking out the bin, or them leaving their socks around, or they're not cooking dinner, or they're not calling you, or whatever it may be on their way home, or whatever it may be. But there was certain instances that happened that you suppressed it, and then it's happened again, you just gone boom, right? And you've exploded because you haven't communicated your thoughts, you haven't communicated your feelings.
And let's go into examples, but we'll lead into the next one anyways. But we'll go into examples, and I think you used a good one with the key in the car as well, and then the race. So we'll do this one because we were together, but we were I won't even say car accident, whatever. Like, that's what we didn't make like a whole big story. But literally, last week we were stopped off at a driveway. A car ran into the back of us and hit the car, and like, it happened. What it happened. No one exploded. No one went crazy at each other. Like, the thoughts around it obviously would lead to the feelings. So, like, the thoughts around it, my instant thing was like, cool, you know what, we may have done a couple things there where, like, we were on someone's driveway, but we had stopped. But my thoughts were, what are the lessons around that we can learn? And that's what impacted my feelings, where I was like, you know what, it just happened, it's fine. Like, we move on and we let it go. Like, we just learn from it. But if I had a different thought pattern where I was like all of a sudden putting blame on race, and I was like, oh my God, you know what? You're just in, I can't even say it because it's so mean. Like, how could you? You're so dumb. Why would you do something like that and just like pull up in someone's driveway and all these thoughts. What an idiot. I would never do that. I would never put in the, what? I could have had all these negative thoughts and made all these thoughts about him, which then would have turned into my feelings of me being like, oh my God, what a douche, I can't believe he did that, making me feel like all horrible inside. But I chose to have different thoughts, which then created different feelings. Like, it was like a let go feeling, which then the actions were just like, it happened, babe, like, what did we learn from it? You know what I mean? That's
how
the situation was. It was like, cool, it happened, what did we learn from it? Like,
right?
Yeah.
And there's the actions, right? The actions. So the actions, what did we learn, right? The actions wasn't blow up and go crazy. The actions was what did we learn, right?
Yeah.
So that's that example.
Yeah. I also learned that in his nervous system response, he's freeze. We should go into that one a little bit later on. He completely froze. I learned that. That was a good lesson.
Why is this weirdo reversing up his driveway into into her car? Like,
And I'm fine. I'm like, race. I could see it. And he was in the driver's seat. I'm like beeping the horn.
So there's fight, freeze, peas, and what's the other one?
And fight, freeze, pee, and flight. See
And
ya.
flight, right? And get the hell out.
Bye.
That's another one. So actions,
Anyways,
and then
talk about that later.
pretty much finishing this up, the last one, right, on what you're going to do. So your thoughts are going to impact your feelings. What you think about is going to control your emotions, what you feel. What you feel is going to control your actions. Are you going to blow up? Are you going to get angry? Are you going to be like, what did we learn? Right? And at the end of the day,
What is going to produce by all of this is the
results. So, the result of the car could have been, hey, we cruised home, everything was all good, no stress, no issues, no nothing. Like, it was like, cool, we got a dent in the car and it's dirty and, I kind of want to buy a Tesla soon anyway. So it's like we can get rid of the car, right?
But you know what? I think too, and that we'll probably talk about it because we haven't really spoken about it, is like the results, if anything, probably makes our relationship stronger. Because rather than me having an outburst and thinking all like these negative thoughts about you for, X, Y, and Z, and then having those feelings leading to negative actions, that would have impacted our relationship. And the results would have been like, we probably wouldn't be how we are. If anything,
Resentment, frustration.
Yeah. Which then, again, another story could have been created and then it could, go into something else and something else. But the thing is, like, this happened and now we let it go and it's done. There's no point ever bringing something up like that again or being like, oh, with that time when da-da-da-da, and bringing it back into a different associated with that feeling. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's it.
So I think, like, even as we drove away and we were in the car together, we had a moment because I was like, what was the lesson? What did we learn? And Reese has talked about it and then he looked over at me and he's just like, he felt really bad and then I'm like, it's okay, babe. And he just looked at me and he's just like, I think you were just like, you're amazing. I love you. And I remember that feeling and that emotion you had around there and you're just like, you're amazing. I love you. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. Because that's just how it should be. Like,
so isn't that a lot better result?
Yeah, that's the result.
At the end of the day. At the end of the day, you can't reverse time.
No.
You can't stop it. You can't change it. What can you control? You can control what you can do moving forward, right? So why not just have a different action and ultimately have a different result? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. I think on all of this, if you were to wrap all of this up, there's a little, analogy that we like to... Is it story plus...
Yeah, but don't forget that this is always comes back to environment, guys. So it's always the environment, right? Because your environment, or it depends, what do you believe? It's your environment that impacts your thoughts. So always the environment will impact your thoughts, which will then lead to feelings and lead to actions, which are then results. And you want to go down into this as well? This is a whole nother topic.
Well, no, just quickly.
Okay.
But,
he'll do it because I'm not quick. He's quick.
Right. Bang! Blow, express, quick, right? So at the end of the day, what all of cool thoughts, feelings, action, results, TFAR, right? Hopefully that makes sense. But to finish this off, right? What's happened here is you're going to have a story, you're going to have an event, and you get to choose whether you make this a problem or not, right? So you've got a story. The event's happened, right? This event's happened. Right, you can't the car reverse this day. You can't reverse time. You can't do that. The event's done.
Yeah.
Right, it's there.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is you then get to create a story around that event. The story of you're so stupid, you're this, you're that, whatever it may be. Right, so you get to create this story, and then once you've got this story, you've got the event. Now you've got a problem. Right, now your result is a negative one. It's an issue. Now you can also have the choice to have, that's N, for you guys to see, N, right? You can have no story, right? Plus the same event, hey, whatever, what did we learn? What's this, what's that? Like, it's no story plus the event. And now you've got the same. You've
No
got
problem.
no problem. So,
No story, no problem.
right? So if you can just remember that, it's quite an easy one to remember. No story, no problem. Right? No story, no problem. No story, no problem. No story, no problem. No story, no problem. You're going to have events that are going to come up in your life, right? You're going to create stories always. This is where you get to make the decision. Are you going to create a crappy story and create a crappy problem around the event, or
You
are
get
you
to
gonna,
choose.
right? Are you
How
gonna
cool is
create-
that? You get to choose. You get to choose your thoughts.
Right? You get to choose your thoughts.
Yeah.
The event's going to happen. You get to choose your thoughts, because at the end of the day, your thoughts are going to control your feelings, then your actions, and then your results. So just remember that. No story, no problem. And you get to make the decision on that.